Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. Today, we have the journey. Look. Stop it. Stop it. You all should be watching these box opening videos without smiling. This is not a feel-good YouTube channel, okay? Let me explain something to you all. Today, we're doing two boxes, a Paradox Rift for my patron Brett, all the way in Mount Pleasant. Do you know why he lives in Mount Pleasant? Because he's a nice guy. And you're supposed to be pleasant. And we're opening two boxes of Paradox Rift. Paradox Rift, ladies and gentlemen, is my largest position in modern day Pokemon products. Because I was the only person helping the distributors get it off the books because nobody wanted it. So to this day, at the peak, I had 4,000 boxes of Paradox Rift. Today, I run multiple patron sales. We've done box openings, had some fun. We're down to maybe about 2,000 boxes of Paradox. Well, as of this video, filming, Paradox Rift boxes just broke $200. A booster box. Now, what does that mean for everybody out there? And the question is, how did we get here? And the question is, why was everybody wrong? And the next question that follows that is, what can we do to learn from it? How can we prevent something like that from being so devastatingly wrong again? Those are the type of questions that we want to discuss. Beautiful. Kafaruka Uka Pipi Shire, EX. Beautiful. Hit number 1, everybody. So there's a lot of takeaways from this particular moment in time that I want to teach everybody about, okay? So this is probably going to be the only little box opening of Paradox that we do. And we got ourselves a beautiful Morpheus from the first Matrix over there. Nice little hit right there. And of course, into nothing. The biggest thing I want to go over, everybody, is, all these, how did we get to this particular moment in time? And what can we learn about the future, about making choices about things that can help us better navigate these type of, sad state of events? How can the entire market of something on the internet, how can the entire internet social media machine that tells you how to think and behave, how can the entire machine be wrong? And it makes me go to the next question is, was it deliberate? Did the market know? Were greater forces at work? Were people aware this was going to happen? It was part of the negative internet machine, pushing you all to think things were bad and wrong. Was that really part of it? So there's a lot of layers to this onion that smell strangely like Rudy's hair. And there's a lot of ways to look at this, okay? In my opinion, I don't believe it was deliberate. In my opinion, I believe the situation of Paradox drifting away from you. The situation with Paradox Rift is probably one of the biggest modern day case studies to learn from that we can ever really even just study. I don't think there's going to be a situation, maybe besides base sets. Paradox Rift was the epicenter of the internet's attitude, the internet bearishness, and the worst set in the block. Okay. Wow, we're not doing good. Brett, I feel like we're not doing good at all. Is it because I didn't pick a damaged box on the pallet? Because I picked nice clean boxes to the dented ones? Why are we not doing that good? Oh, beautiful medical energy right there. All right, finally. I was like, geez, finally a nice little Mrs. S, nice little trainer right there. So, let's start with this. When this set was released, it was the most hated. SVO4 was the most hated Scarlet Violet set. The cards in the set were deemed undesirable. The values of the cards and ancient. Any of the pools in the sets, essentially nothing was worth very much, and everybody just accepted that the product was a failure and it was never going to do anything. That was the market had made up its mind. Roaring Moon EX. Anybody? Roaring Moon? Yeah, never mind. So the problem was, where did these trends start? Who creates it? Who defines in the market that products are bad and nobody wants it? Is it really just a sum of everybody? And everybody just says, yeah, I don't see a future here. No big deal. Like, how does that happen? That is the real conversation takeaway. You know, how do we get to a situation where a product is so bad that distributors have to contact Rudy the Liquidator? Beautiful. Oh, there's a nice little hit there. Beautiful Mewtwo EX there. You know, how do we get there? Like, how does the market get so bad that stores won't even buy Paradox? And then eventually, as it gets built up because it was overprinted, that literally I have to start making deals to take over leftover pallets of this product when it came out. Like, I can't emphasize enough, and I know to you all listening to this, and everyone's new, and everyone jumped in Pokemon because it's all everybody cares about now. The world is very different. But, you know, to understand, you know, how markets work, we have to learn about the extreme moments of things being right and wrong. Beautiful little Magby there. It's a cute little card. And the story of Paradox is the most important story of the SV era. It is the Rudy's largest heavy bag. And I bought as much as I could at the time, which again, even then, I don't even think I took the last couple pallets because even I was just going, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, I'm at 3-4 pallets. Paradox ripped. What am I doing with my life right now? Why am I endlessly buying something that nobody wants? And there's, you know, it's very rare that distributors will mark things down even further to get them off their books in a tax loss. But I will tell you all, because we're getting later in the video now, that, you know, right now the focus is how distributors and MJ Holdings, all this internet stuff, is focusing on how they're all ruining the hobby. Well, I need to kind of tell you all some interesting side stories with this. So when things are this crazy, yes, distributors mark things up and everybody's all wound up about it. And it's, you know, sometimes the markup is so extreme, it is kind of, it's a little messed up. I'm not going to lie. It's, I don't agree distribution should be allowed to do some of the things they do, but what am I going to do? Well, everybody, look at this nice little pack, huh? There's a beautiful, look at that nice little trainer. Counter catcher there, huh? That's nice. And on the deep, dirty, deep down inside world of distribution, when market conditions are severely bad, it is possible to negotiate to get things for a tax write-off and a loss off of a distributor's books. It's something that only happens in very bad market conditions. Now, here's the issue that I have with all this, okay? When that happens, I can't really legally go into certain specifics because of the agreements that were made. Beautiful little Veluza. Essentially what happens is you can get a little bit extra discount. So instead of paying $90 to $100 for a Pokemon box, you could have gotten Paradox. I could have negotiated for a pallet of Paradox and gotten the price down from $90 a booster box to, let's say, $82 a booster box. You know, just to give an even number. Again, we're not talking substantial differences here, okay? So even when things are in the absolute worst case market condition, the ability to get Pokemon at any further reduced prices is pretty much impossible. Now, on the other side of the coin, when Pokemon does really good, it's not that these guys mark up the prices by $5, $10, $15. They start marking the prices up by hundreds. Like, instead of a $90 or $95 Pokemon box, it goes to $200 a Pokemon box. It's $199, $189 for, hey, there you go, there's a nice little hit, little gold, little French fry man. So, unfortunately, the system is not equally calibrated and balanced. So when things were really bad, the ability to get reduced pricing on Pokemon is almost impossible. Like, we're talking a couple dollars off a box from a normal store cost. Okay, but when things go the other way, the distributors will move things, not a couple dollars. They will move them unbelievable dollar amounts. And, well, some stores buy a little bit. Some people buy none, like me, I just back away. And other, it's a very unequal playing field. That is the reality of dealing, well, with kind of Pokemon products, which is why we've always talked about the risk reward is something that's very, very complicated in Pokemon. Beautiful toxicity over there. Very nice. So it's, you know, people always talk about, and you hear these comments about Pokemon comparing to the S&P 500, compared to a sealed booster box of Pokemon. And many people argue that the downside risk of a sealed Pokemon booster box does not have the downward risk parameters that the S&P 500 has. Now, that can be argued in a lot of different ways, and I don't have a good answer because the context of that argument is very, very complicated. And no matter how you try to simplify it, you really can't, because every market condition creates different parameters that makes the equation swing so extreme you really can't have a good financial conversation comparing that kind of thing. So by the way, box 2, 6, 8. So we had 11 what I considered fancy full art kind of nice hits in Paradox here. Most of these are a couple dollar cards. I do know the prices of a lot of these are going up quite a bit. And I do know Paradox now has some hits that are over $100 a card. Now, by the time you watch this video, well, beautiful. There you go. The beautiful little Minior, pack 1. So we're going to stop there. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to jump to some other conversations. But I mostly wanted to kind of address the conversation with you all regarding that whole distribution thing, okay? Because when markets are bad, distributors, you can actually get a couple bucks off a box. Beautiful, beautiful. Sorry, EX. But when things are really good, you know, the distributors add $100 a box. So the market is not equally calibrated. So again, technically for the market to be equal, when things are bad, you know, a store should be able to buy Paradox Rift for 50 bucks a box. When things are good, it should be 150 a box. Problem is, the real world doesn't work that way. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the exact moment that I learned that downside risk of Pokemon versus upside is not equally balanced. That's when I learned about the interesting situation about sealed Pokemon boxes long term. Another Trisarnia EX, whatever that is. So because of that, it definitely makes, well, it makes sealed Pokemon a very, very interesting vehicle long term for collecting and investing in, okay? And Godspeed EX, very nice. So that takes us back to the Paradox Rift situation, okay? So Brett, I don't know how good or bad we're doing right now because the price of these cards are changing so frequently, and certain ones are becoming expensive, certain ones are not. Essentially, for the longest time, Paradox Rift booster boxes were deemed the worst potential thing. It was deemed a toxic asset in Pokemon, okay? Like, even I struggled to sell Paradox. To sell cases of Paradox for $5.99 shipped to your door. That's $99 a box. And even when it came out, doing bulk for like $95 a box, you buy 4 cases from me or something, was a very difficult sell. And that is the actual reason that I have so much of the product. It's not because I destroyed Costco's and Walmart's and everything, but, well, I just couldn't sell it to you guys and patrons, and everybody just kind of shunned their nose at me. And ended up forcing me, oh, a little Porygon there. And it forced me to not, well, liquidate the product. I couldn't sell it, so it went to the Rudy land. Rudy's basements and bathrooms and, you know, warehouses. And that is the reason I have what I have today. You know, the situation, see, that everything's cause and effect, everybody. You know, you have a lot of amateurs in this market, and you have a lot of new people in Pokemon that just, they haven't been around for even a couple years. Everybody's into Pokemon now, okay? Everybody wants a piece of it. Everybody wants a discount. And, well, because of that, you know, it's a very different world. And I can pick out the short-term people without even, literally within 5 seconds, I can tell you're new and you're on the hype train. You're all euphoric. You're trying to 10x your money. I can pick you out a mile away versus the people who've been doing this a long time. Roaring Moon GX, the old ancient again. Okay? And the problem is, you know, the downside is most of these individuals are going to leave when the market stops going straight up. Now, the other side of the coin is we have this new era of rip and shipper, so we have this new strain being placed on sealed Pokemon product. The amount of Pokemon product being ripped on stream and sold singles and all this stuff is so dramatic. We've never had that much pressure being placed on sealed product. It's never happened before. So because of that, oh, beautiful Miss Rika there. Beautiful trainer card. So because of that, we're having the biggest drawdown of sealed products we've ever seen. And because of that, it's leading to faster price appreciation of sealed product because, a little Altria, not to be confused with a smoking company. Because of that, it's putting more upward pressure and it's making box prices appreciate faster than what it is. Now, there's not really an easy way to solve this problem unless we crash the entire market or we nuke the rip and shipper or the culture around Pokemon changes. Now, I don't see any of those really... Oh, look at that little Swablu. Look at that little cute card. A little Iron Moth. I don't see that happening. I just don't see it happening right now. There is too much momentum in the Pokemon market. But remember, the amount of new, uneducated, short-term people trying to flip and just make quick money on Pokemon is unlike anything we've ever seen, okay? There's no data, there is no history, there is no historical trends, there is nothing within the normal Bollinger Band trend moving average, whatever fancy terminology that you went to school and lost your money for and you're in debt for. There's nothing you can use and say to justify the behavior of a market like this. Tapu Koko. Okay, very nice. That's a different little hit there. And because of that, it makes this a very unpredictable market. And unpredictable markets tend to do things that are outside normal behavior, ups and downside, which means we can see prices go higher than you can possibly imagine, and we can see prices tank harder than you can ever imagine. So when you have that kind of parameters on the up and down side, it creates a very, very unknown situation, everybody. And well, that's really what we see. And like doing this video right now, Brett, I don't even know. Beautiful little tulip there. I have no idea the current prices of these cards because literally, by the time you watch this video, and the prices of some of these cards are changing on a daily, weekly basis. We got a beautiful Rika there, another nice little trainer girl. There's no way to know, okay? Because the market is repricing some of these things so quickly. I mean, I did not expect that we'd be in March of 2020, or wait, April? March? Where are we at? Let's put it this way, okay? If you had asked Rudy, what would the price be of a Paradox Rift booster box be April 1st, 2025? If you asked me this a year, 2 years ago, my answer would have been, instead of $99 a box, I think Paradox will break 110, 120. That would be my answer. There would have been not a single realm of possibility when I was buying these pallets of Paradox that I got stuck with, and I still have today, okay? I'm still sitting on 2,000 plus stupid boxes of Paradox because I ran 3 patron sales and nobody would ever buy them from me, okay? Ah, yes, Golden French Fry EX. If you had asked me, I would have said if I'm lucky, these boxes would go to 120, maybe 129 if I just hit it big with the old frosty glass over here, okay? There was never a scenario in my mind where I thought going into March, April 2025 that these boxes would be breaking $200 on TCG Player. That wasn't even a conversation. That wasn't even on the chart. That wasn't even in the speculative range of when I was buying these Pokemon boxes. The only data point I had was my experience from the past of the Rudy's Pokemon bathroom, all the history I've been through, and I've learned that when I learned that even my own patrons reject buying a product, whether it's a Magic Collector box, it's a Pokemon booster box, it's a Weiss set or anything, it tells me where the market stands. If I run a Weiss sale and I got 400 boxes and I sell 50 and just no one buys it, well, nobody wants that particular brand. They don't like the cards, they don't like the art, maybe they don't like the anime, they don't like the sets, but it also tells me over the next 3 to 5 years, nobody is going to have the product. When I see a Pokemon product like Paradox Rift that was printed to oblivion, and I was sitting here going, well, I guess I'll buy another pallet for 50 grand. I guess I'll buy a second pallet for 45 grand. I'll buy a third pallet for 44 grand. Oh my gosh, should I buy a fourth and fifth pallet? This is getting absurd. Like, how stupid am I? Is this really the right thing to do? And when I start having those conversations to myself, I fucking know we're at the bottom. Because even I had those conversations with myself in the summer of 2023, when the market inflation and cruel summer of 2022, in Magic the Gathering and Magic 30, Baldur's Gate, everything collapsing, Amazon dumps, and I was literally saying, what am I doing? Why am I still buying everybody's collections, even at 60, 70 cents on the dollar? What's the point? They don't go up, they don't do, like I was starting to say it to me. And then I calmed down, I had a party pack, I went to Taco Bell and Chick-fil-A, I eat them both at the same time, and I just had a moment saying, if I'm to the point where I think that, we're at a market bottom. And that was literally speeches I have to myself that made me buy 4,000 boxes of Paradox Rift, even after all the sales and trying to do everything, even today. You know, having between 2,000 and 2,500 boxes of Paradox Rift, and it's $200 a box. And now it looks like these things are going to go to $300 to $500 a box. And I can't even believe that's a realm of possibility when it's just, I couldn't even get people to do anything. And the only comments I would get on my own patron sale were people saying, well, we can tell which set Rudy has and he's stuck with and he's trying to unload on us. And of course, because of comments like that, other people don't buy, they close their account, and the heavy bags get bigger. Then we move forward to 2025, and well, thanks for the $10 to $20 million in profit, and I hope people learn something. And I will continue to be honest and straightforward about it, whether you think that's bragging, you think that's insane, whether you think Rudy ruined the market, it makes no fucking difference. What it means is you need to learn something from it. These stories will be historical to share, and it helps other people face situations that they need to handle. That is the point of sharing these stories. Because if I have mental speeches to my own self and my whole life is cardboard, I can't imagine what new people must feel. Thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day.